All right, how's it going, everybody? So this is another weekly watch list, live streaming my watch list. I will be conducting with you guys. I'll be doing some technical analysis. I'll pretty much show you guys what I'll be looking for and trading this week. All right. So to briefly go over the price action in the overall market this previous week, the market is still continuing to rally up. We saw the SPY Friday close pretty strong. But at the same time, as I was speaking about crude last week, we saw crude on Friday touch 36. So we're at 36. So as I stated before, I'm going to sit on the sidelines for now. And I could possibly take a long position on crude once we retrace back to 36. And I'll post up the chart. Now, I got something new with you guys, so I'm going to screen share something with you guys. I figured out a way that I can publicly share my watch list with you guys. It's through Google, all right? So basically, I'm going to give you guys a link, and you guys can access this link at any time you wish. The link will bring you up to my actual live watch list. I'll screen share the watch list currently. So let's do the entire screen. So this is going to be a public watch list for you guys, and I'm gonna post the link on my bio on my Instagram. And if you guys can get the link to work, you guys can email me at boudvisors@gmail.com. So it should read as bouadvisors@gmail. I should write that here. So basically, if you guys can't get in touch with me on Instagram or via email or text me or whatever it is and I'm too busy, you guys could literally, and I'll be updating this daily, by the way. I'll be eliminating the tickers that I'm no longer looking at, and I will be adding new tickers as the week goes on. And of course, I'll update on my live stream. So again, this is pretty cool. You guys can access my current live watch list any time of the week, okay? And I'll give you guys the link. I'll give you guys the link towards the end of the stream. All right, give me one moment. I'm going to try to get my guest on. I'm going to have Rig live with me to share his watch list and give you guys some of his techniques. All right, so again, those that just tuned in, this is going to be a public watch list. You guys can get this watch list. You guys can view it at any time. I'm going to have two watch lists, two public watch lists. I was just working on this today. I'll work on the following tomorrow. So this watch list would only be tickers that I'm watching, right? This is a perfect watch list. So let's review it real quick. You have the ticker. You don't really need to know the name. Some names don't pull up, but the most important part, obviously, is the ticker. And then we have, it gives you the last close of the day. So whatever price it closed on, it's going to be automatically updated. We're going to have the day low. We're going to have the current price intraday, and we're going to have the day high. So currently, the quotes are 20 minutes delayed, okay, when the market is actually running. I'm going to try to manipulate this watch list and try to get this watch list uploaded from investing.com. Reason is because investing.com gives us live quotes, right? So I'm going to try to feed off investing.com. This particular watch list is feeding off Yahoo Finance. So we know Yahoo Finance is delayed, right? So again, so we have the current price, the day high, we have the change, right? And then we have the range. I like the range because it'll give me an idea if a ticker is worthy of of trading, whether it's day trading it or swing trading it, right? So here we have Adobe, and I'll be talking about Adobe very shortly. Adobe, I'll actually be going short on Adobe, but I'll explain why. So Adobe, you see, we have a $2. It moved $2.70 intraday, and then you see over here, Dr. Pepper and Snapple Group moved 220. So tickers like over here, like CDTI, right? It only moved 3 cents the whole day. So you know, I don't like plays like that. I'll go for any plays that move anywhere from $1 to $2. PTLA, by the way, was on my watch list previous week. I told you guys that I would be long PTLA as long as it stays above $20. And then I believe on Thursday when I did my recap, I said that we've stayed above 20, and I went long 20. And you see on Friday, it was able to move. What did it move? It moved $1.41, so we're actually at 21.29. And then you see 3M moved $3, right? So it pretty much gives you the whole breakdown here. Then he gives you the day range and percentage wise. It gives you the volume versus average. It gives you, this is a 52-week ratio, right? I don't really pay attention to that. It gives you the 52-week low. It gives you the current price. It gives you the 52-week high. Okay, and then it goes. It gets a little more detail here for you guys. So then it'll give you the after hours. It'll give you the last close, and then it'll give you the open, and then it'll give you the return on investment since the 52-week low. So I spoke about that as well. I said how I think I was on marketwatch.com, so I'm only going to cite them as the source. I don't know how credible the source is, but I remember reading an article where it said that about 80% of stocks had reached their 52-week low recently on the last market drop. So pretty much a lot of these stocks did touch their lows, and you see from their 52-week low, they're up pretty nicely, pretty sharply. Some of them are tremendously down even after their 52-week low, but a majority of them are up over 25%, right? So if they're up over 25%, and obviously this watch list is going to be focused on swings, as well, personally, I expect the market to do a pullback around the summertime, around June, correlation with crude. So a lot of these tickers, they're up nicely, and I truly believe that a lot of these tickers here will give up a lot of their gains. So we're going to look at the high gainers, the high percentage gainers, and that's the type of stocks that we're going to look for when we're going to go into short market. So basically, we're going to move forward onto the watch list, and I'm going to start doing some charting for you guys. Now, obviously, I have about 32 tickers on my watch list here. I have some more other stocks that I'm going to be day trading. Obviously, that's on my TOS platform. And then we'll just bounce back and forth. Let me just try to do a FaceTime here with Brig. All right, we'll let him call me back. This is my current positions that I'm in currently. I'm currently long PTLA. This is tickers, obviously, that I gave you guys on my previous watch list. These are the only ones that I'm currently holding. I'm holding API still long. I shed a couple of other shares that I had, so I'm only left with 100 shares long at 63.45. So for the total week, this is just on my swings. Obviously, I played other tickers. I let go. So these are my current tickers that I'm going into the week on Monday with. So I'm currently long still PTLA at 20, Adobe I'm short at 95.15, long 100 shares, scaling lot with UWTI at 18.90, and I spoke about UWTI. You guys, I'm not sure if you guys saw the article in Market Watch regarding how millennials are trading UWTI and trying to get rich off UWTI. Well, in my previous live streams, I explained how UWTI works. I explained how it's not a long-term investment vehicle. It's a day trading. I wouldn't even consider swing trading. It's a day trade tool, right? And it will kill your account. It will harm your account. I guess you guys still have a lot of questions regarding that, so I will be talking about UWTI as well. I'm holding short MMM still and long API. So currently it's a $751 gain so far, plus my other trades that week. What's up, Rig? Hello? Hello?
Yo.
All right, what's up, man? All right, everybody, this is Rig. You can tell them your Instagram name. I'm pretty sure a majority of the viewers probably follow you on Instagram.
Rig24, RIG24.
All right, cool. Are you by your computer?
I'm on my laptop and I'm loading up Thinkorswim right now.
All right, cool. So I'm gonna just continue. I was just going over my portfolio that I have here for the public, and I was explaining to them this is going to be the public watch list that anybody can access through Google Docs. So it's a spreadsheet through Google Docs. I'll have the link available publicly, and everybody can access it anytime they want, and they could just go ahead and forward me an email if they have any questions. And so how about, well, they already know the type of trader I am. So how about you tell them the type of trader you are and what you actually do?
I'm a technical trader, charting, news, reversals, reverse splits, bounce. I short, I long, I swing, I also do options.
Okay.
But I tend to try to stay ahead of the trend of the overall market and find movement before it happens.
Okay. You're still there, right?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay. So they have a question, right? So how do you, what do you use to screen your stocks?
I use Thinkorswim and Finviz. So I have a few criteria that I use on Finviz, and then I have a scan that I run on Thinkorswim, and throughout the day I have a specific criteria of stocks that are of criteria that scan through stocks throughout the day. So every 2 minutes, that scanner is running. So I'm constantly up on whatever stocks is moving. A lot of times I'll look at what's gapped up pre-market to see if there's any potential gap plays, whether they'll continue or whether there'll be a good short. And that's how I do my scans every morning, starting between 7 to 8, sometimes earlier, depending on if I'm expecting a specific move that morning on a particular stock. I'll be up early, seeing if I can catch the movement before as it happens, instead of waiting until 8 or 9 o'clock.
All right. Another question is, what are your favorite indicators?
My favorite indicators are the moving averages, the RSI, stochastic, and the volume bar.
All right, that's pretty much the same indicators that I use. All right, cool. I have some more questions this is later on, so I'm gonna just start doing some charting. You're able to view these tickers, right?
Absolutely.
All right, perfect.
I'm pursue up right now.
Okay. Now obviously I can't screen share your watch list, so I'm going to actually edit some of these out, and you can go ahead and throw me some tickers that are currently on your watch list. You pretty much already have a watch list set for next week for yourself, right?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, I'm gonna remove some tickers out. All right, shoot me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Shoot me 8 tickers. Greg, you
One
there?
sec, let me. Okay, so we have. Yeah, I'm here. I'm
All right.
just putting them up. Right now I have four,
Okay, go ahead.
which consist of Cara.
All right. Biotech, right?
Yep. Pharmaceutical.
Uh-huh.
Then I have Nugget, which is a gold play.
Okay.
LABU and LABD.
Okay, so you have 3 ETFs and 1 regular stock. All right, cool.
I have some more.
Actually, Kara, let me guess. Are you thinking about going long on Kara?
Yep.
Yeah, I watched that. I was watching Kara last week, and I was kind of beating my head. You know, I should have loaned Kara a while back ago, man. It was right there, but obviously you can't get them all. All right, so perfect. So let me just go ahead. What I'm going to do.
It's filled that gap, and I believe it's going to continue. I mean, usually another play that I do is like when stocks fill a gap, they tend to go much higher. So usually I like to get in on the anticipation of it, going to fill in that gap, because once it fills that gap, it ends up going an extra point or two above it. So it closed the gap on Friday, and I'm looking over here, and I definitely see potential eight for 809 potential move, if not higher.
Possible, yes. Um, yeah, so that's what I look for too. And a lot of traders, I think, you know, seasoned traders, they know that. Some traders, especially the viewers that are probably viewing now, don't really understand that, or probably have heard that but don't believe it. And that's why I kind of show that's why I kind of chart out first before, I don't just give out my watch list to them. I throw the ticker up on a chart and I tell them why it's on my watch list. And that's exactly right. So if it fills a gap, most of the time it's gonna gap and go. It's not gonna gap and go. You're gonna have some patience, and if it doesn't gap and go, and if it fills the gap and it just gets stuck, you can play a sideways channel. There's different ways to play it, but ultimately, if it does run up past the gap fill, it will continue to go up. And even if we can catch it for a point or two, that'll be great. Whether it's going to be on a day trade, most likely it's going to be a hold on that for a couple of days. So I'm actually going to pull that up. I know you can't, obviously, you can't live stream. Um, so I'll pull that up on the chart. So now, since this is your ticker, I'm going to just feed off you. So I know you said that you look at the 5 minute chart, you look at the daily, and what is the third chart that you look at?
The 1 minute.
Okay, so you look at the 1 minute, the 5 minute, and the daily. All right. So I'm gonna pull this up on the daily
Yep.
chart. Okay, and I'm gonna draw what I do is I would draw a downtrend line. Okay, from the high on the daily, right? Now you were saying possibly run up to 12, correct?
809 plus. I mean, if it gets over 809, there's nothing stopping it until 11. I want to say 1193.
Yes, and I'll draw that. I see exactly what you what you're seeing. So what I'll do is I'll draw because so they can see it, they can understand it. So I'm gonna just go step by step here, right?
All
So
right.
now for those that are viewing, this is why we're he's watching Kara. I've been watching Kara. I just haven't made a move on it, which I should have made a move around the $4 range. So it had gap down. So a gap down is pretty much this. It closed when it opened up. It opened up about 2 points below. 2 points is $2 on the bottom, and from that point on, it just continuously just started to uptrend. And what I mean by continuously uptrend is, this right here. So it continued to make lower lows and higher highs. Right now, we're at Rig. Would you say we're at a double top here?
Yes.
Say that again.
Because they hit the same right here back in March 23rd.
Yeah. So yes, exactly. So we're at a double top currently. Now I'm going to explain how we fill the gap here by with an arrow, right? So this is the gap. And this trend line, this is going to be the first trend line, and that trend line is pretty much the gap right there where it's trying to fill. Now, where I have my red line situated, if we break the double top here, you're saying that our first key level resistance would be around the $8 $8.15 range, would you say?
I would say to be precise, it would be 809.
Okay, 809 to be precise. Now we're at 660. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to this is a cool tool. I'm not sure if you use it. I know it's on TOS as well. So we're going to take a long position. So let's say we take a long position on Kara if everything works out, right? And let's say we were to take it at 660, let's say 660, right?
Yep.
And I'm gonna say the first level we're gonna look at is from 660. We're gonna go to 809. Let's say 809, right? And so now how would you play this? Would you see? I'll tell you how I would play this. If I was looking, what I would obviously look for is volume, right? We're gonna look for volume, obviously intraday. We're gonna see the price action. Now, this is where you would pull up the 5 minute chart. No?
Yep. Well, I mean, which I already have the 5 minute chart
Okay.
pulled up alongside of it.
Okay.
The 5 minute chart is pulled up alongside the daily, so it goes the 5 minute, the daily, and then the 1 minute. So I'm seeing all these different time frames simultaneously.
Okay. All right. So perfect. So now, what would you use as your so now let's say you were to do an entry. So let's say we have a game plan to enter Kara at 660 with intentions of it uh continuing to go up. So obviously we're gonna swing. If we break through successfully, we're gonna hold on to this and see how much we could actually get on this particular trade, right? So, but our first target would be somewhere around, I would say 7-8 range. But what would your stop loss be here?
Right here, my stop loss would be in the 620s. So let's say, okay, so let's say we got in at
So you're getting the 620 as your stop loss on your 5 minute chart, right?
yep. based on my 5 minute chart, and then when I compare that with the when I compare that with the with the daily, the green candle that it had on Friday, the bottom of that green candle is 623. So I would give it a little range, and I would use 620. And if you look on the 5 minute, you're gonna see that there was a lot of support in that 620 area, and from that 620 area, it ended up breaking up and going all the way and having a high of 670, 678. So, and right now support at 640 as well on the 5 minute. So if I got long, the first area would be is would be the 640. So if it broke under 640, I would scale out half of my position. And if it came down and it comes down and it tests the 620 or the 623 and it holds the 623, I will re-add to my position and use 620 as a hard stop.
Okay, so we're gonna use 620 as a hard stop here.
Yep.
All right, so let's zoom out here. So 620 is a hard stop. We're gonna be right here. We're gonna enter around. You said 640. All right, so those that are viewing currently, this trade, we are only risking. We're risking about a little less than 3% to make 27% on a swing if it successfully breaks the double top there, which is a resistance, and fills the gap uh, accurately. I would say that's a pretty good trade. So I'll put that up on my watch list here. So we're gonna put Caro.
And I'd also like to point out on the daily, right now it's only about 35 cents below getting above the 50-day moving average, which many traders use that. That's a very common moving average on the daily. So it getting above the 50-day moving average will be extremely bullish. So upon it getting over 695, I definitely seeing that happening and pushing it over seven change.
Yeah, so I'm gonna say 725 to start scaling stuff. To start scaling shares out. So I have a long entry target at 640, stop loss, hard stop loss at 620. And we're gonna still, and even if we hit the stop loss, we trigger a stop loss, we're gonna continuously watch it, because sometimes what happens is, obviously they do fake outs.
Yeah.
So, and market makers go for the stops and everything because ultimately they know what our stops are.
Yeah.
So, and then we have a target exit. So we could obviously this play could net more than obviously 10% easy on the trade. So that's a good play here. So you were talking about on the daily, and so now I'm going to put my indicators up. Same indicators as the same ones that you use. So let me just clear everything up. And I'm going. So actually, another question: what do you set your stochastic RSI at?
I have it between.
Do you have a default or
what is it?
do you have a default? Is it 14-14-3-3 or? All right, we lost him.
I'm here.
Oh, okay.
On the stochastic, I have it set at 80, 20, 14, and 3.
Okay. Let me hold on.
Hello?
Yeah, I hear you. I'm gonna leave mine, and I'm gonna implement yours. So you said, what is the RSI length on that? 18?
Yeah. I have. I just took it off. I have 80, 20, 14, and 3.
What can you check what your smooth K and smooth D are?
Yep. My K is 14.
And what's your D?
3.
And the stock length, I guess, is 20, right?
Um. Yep.
Okay. So obviously on your RSI, the way that you have yours implemented, and for those that are viewing, there's different ways and different numbers that we use as traders to that we use as far as stock RSI. RSI, obviously 80 being high, 20 being low. Anything below 20 is oversold, way oversold. Anything over 80 is extremely overbought, right?
Yep.
So, uh, and if you guys watched my live stream last week, most of my plays really kind of fed off the stochastic, because the stochastic will tell you, even though a stock can be uptrending, it'll have a pullback, it'll have a dip, and sometimes even though the stochastic R size, if you're doing an intraday, is kind of delayed, and some people say, oh well, you're only looking at what already happened, right? But it'll give you a better view. So here, if we just look, when the stochastic was 85 on, let's say, mine, okay, and this is kind of why I kind of like mine more for really short term trading, because my stochastic will tell you when a dip is really coming, right? As soon as we enter, usually around the 80 mark on my stochastic intraday, I kind of start to scale off unless I'm swinging. But I'll usually take some profits off the table. So when you have the stochastic RSI indicator here, on the 22nd, we were sitting at around 668. Okay, my stochastic was over 80. It was pretty much overbought at the time, and it took a little dip back down to 61 on my stochastic. And you see Carol went down all the way down to 548, right? So if you if you don't follow the current stochastics that I have implemented, you would have been able to scale out some shares at 660 and buy back at 550. Okay. um, and ultimately that's how it played out. With yours, it's more like of a long-term float, and yours is pretty much signaling that it's going to continue to go up, and it's coming up. It's a bullish
Yep.
crossover, and it's moving from the bottom, which is what we look for swing wise, right?
Uh, yeah. I mean, swing wise, on the 16th of March, it signaled a buy because the my stochastic had gone below 20, and then it reclaimed and started uptrending, and it crossed over the 20. It actually crossed into the in and over to the 20 on March 16th, and then from there it's just been a solid uptrend. And then it hit 76. It dropped, and that was when it had hit that double top at 671,
Yeah, right
and
here.
it dropped all the way to 526. But and if you're looking, you see that it created a support at in that 526 to 530 area.
Yes, right
So
here.
right here was another signal to rebuy it because it held a good portion of its gains.
Correct. It did. Yeah. It bounced back off, bounced back up, but it created double top. So actually, it's going to be interesting what's going to happen on Monday. Um, so now, swing wise, for those that are viewing, I have it written down here. Now, as I told you guys should be writing these down. But tomorrow, I'll be able to have this publicly. You guys can view this at any time you guys want. So swing wise, we're gonna go long entry. at 640 or 630, whatever comes our way. Stop loss, tight stop loss is 620. We're not really going to be playing. Well, as far as I go, personally, me, I'm not really going to play with it unless it holds the 620, holds above 640. And I'm not going to try to buy some cheap shares at $5. Ultimately, um, I would like it to hold above the price that I have as a target, and that's when I'll start to dabble with it. You can, for those that are viewing, you guys can try to catch a bottom, but again, the whole point of this is the whole point of this stream is to show you guys that the ones that there's traders that are going to be like, let's say this all fails and it retests fives, right? There's going to be traders that are always going to try to be heroes and try to pick up uh, very cheap shares, right? And say, oh, I'm going to try to ride this thing back up. Well, if usually, okay, if a double top occurs and then it can't hold a double top, it can't break it through a double top, I would say at this point here, there's a chance of going lower. So what I would do is stick with the game plan. That's the whole point. Is our game plan is to go long at 640 or 630, whatever comes our way on Monday. We're not going to play with this stock under 620. We want to play with this stock as long as it's holding above the levels that we've mentioned, and hopefully we can get our target exit at 725. So we're looking for more than a 10% move on this, and we have no problem holding if our stop loss is not triggered, right? So now you've mentioned Nugget, you've mentioned Labu, and
Yep.
you've mentioned Lab B. Okay, so real quick for the viewers, Labu is a long
Yep.
in
And
bio.
Lab B is a short.
Yeah.
And the reason I like these two stocks is because they're the counterparts of each other. When LABU is moving upwards, LABD is moving downwards. If LABD is moving upwards, that means LABU is moving down. So these are stocks that, I mean, I have them on my watch all the time, and I am constantly playing them. On which trend they're holding. So, and I tend to go into LabD a lot more because it moves a lot quicker. Whereas, I mean, before LabU did the reverse split, it was trading in the $7 and $6 area. So LabU would drop, say, 20 cents, and LABD would have moved 3 points.
Yes.
So for me, I rather go into the stock that's moving, 3 points at a time, 5 points, 10 points at a time, versus a stock that's it's moving only 20, 50 cents. Because for every 10 cents or 2 cents that LABU moves, LABD is moving 50 cents, 60 cents a point.
Correct. Okay, um, so what is your so basically what are levels are you looking at? What levels are you looking for in Labo? Labo again is long biotech and it tracks mainly the XBI for those that don't know.
And it also flows with the IBB, which
Okay.
is I believe it's the ETF for
Yeah, it
pharmaceutical.
holds it
About,
holds various different biotech uh,
yes.
companies. Okay, so what's a level you're looking for Labo? Are you
For
trying to
Labu,
play? See, for
I'm
right now,
looking
when
for
I pull
it.
up the
I'm looking to pick it up somewhere in the 2950 area, because on the 5 minute on Friday, it has some great support in that 2950 area, and I firmly believe that it's just a matter of time before we see the stock over 33. And once it gets over 33, there's nothing stopping it till $40 a share. So my plan on this is to pick it up either in the 2950. So I'm gonna wait to see if it pulls on Monday. If it pulls and it holds above 2950 or 29, I'm taking along, and I'm gonna risk 50 cents to potentially making 5 to 6 points.
Okay, makes sense. I'm gonna
I
just
mean,
draw.
if you look at it on a daily, right? You look on it on a daily. It's just been it's just been consolidating. I mean, for the past few days, it's been consolidating, and it's coming to a point where it's at a double top. So upon it breaking this double top, but first I'd like to see it do a little pullback, so I can potentially get in. And if I have to chase it, I would probably take a long at 30, and then risk to the break of, 29.50. But there's a lot of upside on this. I mean, as long as the market stays green and we don't have any crazy ass news coming out, this will definitely continue moving forward. Which in turn, LABD is going to be a tremendously good short.
Okay. Uh, so just to tell the viewers again, I was talking about ETFs. I don't recommend personally. I don't recommend new traders to swing trade ETFs. ETFs is because a majority of new traders they're not working with much capital, so they don't have enough capital to protect their underlying position. So when you trade these particular vehicles, such as LABU, which is a 3x, or you're trading LABD or NUGT, um, it moves so rapidly that you'll have 5%, 10%, 15% swings on this. So there's no need to actually go in heavy. And I would never recommend the new trader to go heavy with these particular stocks because they move so rapidly that you don't need to go in heavy. So if you go in, let's say with, you know, 200 or 300 shares, if you're a new trader, that should be well enough for you to make a decent return because you'll on an intraday, it usually moves around anywhere from 3 to 5% if you're on the right side of the trade. Um, so these are the key levels here. So I'm not really a big fan of I used to trade LabU and LabD. Kind of steering away from. I'll day trade these, but as far as swings, I won't have them on my swing watch list. Only because I don't want viewers to jeopardize. I don't want them to jeopardize their account or lose their account due to these tickers because it's known to happen before. So now let's talk about gold.
Yes, let's talk about gold.
Right, so let's talk
That's
about
been
gold. So
that's been my
gold
baby.
gold has well, let's look at let's okay, so this is gold. This is the actual chart of gold, right? Now Nugget and UGT trades under the GDX. GDX, these for the viewers. The GDX is miners, gold miners. Nugget is a gold miner, so it doesn't really trade in accordance to movement in gold, but they correlate in a sense. So what we saw here was a major sell off in gold, right? I've been bullish on gold since it was 1050, and it continued to rally. I haven't really capitalized as much as I should have. I was basically long on idea. I didn't really play gold too much. I know Rig, you raped Nugget. Uh,
Over 100% swing, over 100% return on a swing. I was bullish on gold from January.
yep.
Right when it came out of that low of 1740, I got long in the 20s. I sold it in 48s and 49s. Then I relonged on a dip, and then I ended up selling that one at 60, 69, and 68. And when I first got long on gold, I had a price target of 60 by March,
Yeah.
and it surpassed my price target. And overall, I think in the next few months, we'll be seeing gold somewhere in the $100 range.
Okay.
And right now, I mean, let me see. For the past, I want
What
to
do you
tell
mean
you
we'll see gold within $100 range?
when.
Well, I didn't understand what you meant by that.
basically off of the chart and what's going on with the overall economy.
Yeah.
I see that it's just a matter of time before gold is trading at $100 a share. And so far, I mean, so
You
far my
mean Nugget?
thesis on gold has been.
You mean Nugget?
Well, I'm saying nugget.
Yeah. Okay. So yes, I don't want to confuse them. So
Yeah.
yes,
So
I
a
completely
nugget,
agree with you. I completely agree with you. A lot of these viewers. So gold is a little more intricate than stocks because gold, there's so many different news and factors that factor into gold and why it moves the way it moves. Is very volatile in the senses also. But I pulled up the daily. Some people can draw their trend lines a little different. The reason why I drew my trend line like this is so basically it's an extended trend line from the bottom here, double bottom. I would consider this a double bottom here, and this is the last candle right here before it took off. So what I like to do in this particular scenario is draw my trend line from the bottom of the candle, the lowest candle there is on this chart in correlation to the last candle before it gapped up and then just extend it all the way up. Now, personally, I don't think that my trend line is in like you see how this candle bounced off my trend line?
Yep.
Right? Yeah, I don't think it's a coincidence that it bounced off that trend line because if you drew the trend line from the bottom here and you wrote it against the last candle before the gap up, and this is just a straight extended line. It literally, bounced off the trend line and it went up. So it hit a low of 210 and it went back up. So yes, for viewers
Now,
out there,
you see how just quick. Sorry to interrupt, but
go ahead.
you see how you have the cursor where it's showing a line right across, right where that candle bounced off of your trend line.
Yeah.
If you was to draw another line going across, right, you would see that there's support in that area, right? So let me see. If you used to draw another line going across, it's going to form a triangle, right? Now remember what I told
Oh,
you.
okay. So it would be yes. So let me do it like this. So from the top, you mean?
Let me see, right there.
You're talking about right here.
Go to the lower.
Oh, so it would be like this.
No, you're gonna draw the line going horizontal, but right where that candle bounced off of your right where it bounced off of your first trend line, the line is going to be going horizontal, not on a slant like that.
So where would I draw this trend line here? How do you want it?
All right, bring it down, bring it to the bottom of where the candle, of where
Oh, okay. I see right here.
right? So you see how it forms a triangle, right? So right there, had it gone below that area,
Yes.
It would have been a flat out short. But it held that area and it bounced, and
Yes.
now it's going to continue. As long as it stays above that ascending triangle, it's going to continue moving forward.
So now, what would you say if it breaks this trend line here? Where would be the first line support?
Which line?
So, for example, so because I want them to understand this, there's always scenarios that happen, and I want them to understand how. Well, I'll give you my thoughts and how I would trade it first, right? So, what I would do is, if I'm trading gold, yes, I would be long Nugget right now, right? I would definitely be long Nugget. I wouldn't really short gold right now. Shorting gold is not, and I want to explain to people why shorting gold at the moment is not the right move. If you're going to short gold, you just might as well short just anything that you see, because reason being is in any event, if we can backtrace to the last market pullback, if we have a market pullback or there's any type of scare that'll happen in the market, and you can't wipe that off the table because we're currently sitting high in the market, right? So we're sitting at a level where fundamentally we shouldn't even be trading at right now, but we are, right? So technicals has brought us up to this level. Now, this is why I say I wouldn't short gold, besides the technical part, but just fundamentally, um, gold, is usually what, a safe haven on the opposite of the market. So when the market is doing bad, people tend to put money in gold. Now, if you saw crude move, okay, so crude moved about 10 points, 12 points from the lows, more, probably like 15 points from the lows, right? What people didn't really notice, and myself too, and which I usually pay attention to, is the commitment of traders' contracts. So basically, you get to see where the big boys are putting their money at, right? So you see big boys putting money in their crude. So uh, back in December, if you look at the COTC crude contracts, we would have, if we paid attention from December, okay, uh, and saw where hedge fund managers and money managers and people in gold, producers as well, where they were putting their bets. A lot of them were putting their bets in long crude contracts, right? That should have been a signal that there was going to be a move up in crude oil prices. Now, I say that to say with gold, gold is the same way. A lot of money is being put back into gold. So the past 2 months we saw a minor withdrawal from long gold contracts, but they didn't really move much. So what I figured was pretty much a hedge, or some people were taking some contracts that they bought from the low, and they were profit taking, which is completely normal. But we haven't seen a complete withdrawal of long gold contracts, right? So now, if we're playing this on a technical base, so I'm not gonna put Labu or LABD on my watches, but I'm gonna put Nugget, right? So obviously this would indicate, this chart right here would indicate a long on gold. As long as we hold this trend line here, we're gonna continue to go up. Key levels, obviously, which is really the basic is levels here that I would personally look for. And I think I would look for. See, this is kind of like a little top here, a nice support there, because we bounced off this twice, and then I would draw another level here. But if we're swinging, we're not really gonna keep drawing trend lines and fogging up the chart. But at this moment here, anywhere from 12, 15 above, I'm long on gold, obviously. So let's actually look at Nugget. Usually, I don't chart ETFs, and I'm not a fan of charting ETFs. I'll actually chart the underlying ticker that it tracks. So, for example, Nugget tracks, I believe JDX, right? But just for the sake of charting, let's look at Nuggets um, chart. So, Rick, where would you enter if you were to enter in Nugget if you're already in?
Where I would be looking to enter would be in the 58, the low 58 area, 58.13 to be exact.
Let me pull up I'm gonna pull up the 30-minute chart here. Okay, so we did a gap down and we filled the gap up. That's what we did here. So you're looking at right here. So pretty much the price before we gap down. Correct,
Um,
Rick?
yeah,
Okay, so
yeah. I mean, I'm looking at it. I'm looking on it on the 5 minute, and based on Friday's chart, there was a lot of support at first it was resistance at 58.13, but then it got above 58.13, and 58.13 became support. So there's a lot of support at 58.13. So I would look to pick this up either there or somewhere in the mid 58s, and just start scaling in, and overall leaving my top to be 58.13.
okay, so we're sitting at 59.75. Um,
We're sitting at 59.75, but it gapped down after hours to 59.38. I mean to 59.35. So right now, like on an intraday level, I see this on Monday pulling. So on Monday, I definitely will be stocking it for an entry. Now, initially, I would like to see it pull down to the 58.13 and hold. But in the event that it breaks below 58, I would look to pick it up at 55.80. What was it? Yeah, like 55.87. I would look to pick it up in that area.
You said 55.87.
Yeah, I would look to pick it up in that area in the event that it does go below the 58.13 support.
All right, so my stochastic is saying that we're still overbought, and we could go back down to 50. We could initially get our 58 target.
Um, wow.
So how we play this is exactly how we did it here. So that's exactly what we have anyway. A long entry target around 58.13, 58.60. Obviously, if we see a breakout above, what is it, 59. So what would the next level? What would you say the next level for yourself to be long at? So if we miss a 58 entry and it just continues to rise up on
If
Monday,
it continues, if it continues to rise up on Monday, um, the area to get long would be 60. If it breaks above 60, or no, I'm sorry, if it got above 59.70, 59.70. Hold on. Yeah, if it got above 59.
we could do 59.70. Yeah, that sounds about right.
70, yes, like exactly like 76.
Yeah.
But if it gets above the 59.70s, and continues to go, you can get along there, anticipating it to break over 60. And once it breaks over 60, you're definitely gonna have room to make another 3-4 points upon it breaking 60. Um, yeah, so you would actually look to exit out around 63.81, or at least like scale out. Like what I like to do with my swings is, depending on how good my entry is, as I scale in, I do the same process on scaling out. So it goes to one price target. I'll take a
Yes.
portion, not half.
So let me
Um,
just actually explain that real quick for viewers, right? So what we do as traders is we scale in. We never go in full share. So just because, unless it's a breakout,
yeah,
then sometimes I will do that. But uh, so if we're trading, so personally, if I'm trading Nugget, right, and let's say we hit this level here and we hit around $58, I'm gonna start to scale in with maybe 100 shares. Obviously, every account is gonna be different. So even if you're a new trader and you scale in with 20 shares, it is gonna be whatever that you can afford. Uh, but the end result will always be the same. So if I make 10% on my investment, and I went in with around $20,000 worth of capital, you go in with $3,000 worth of capital, you're still going to make 10%. We're going to both make 10%, but we're just making different amount of money because we went in with a different amount of money. So I would go in, let's say so what a scale in would be, let's say 50 shares. So just a small number so you guys can put it in your head, 50 shares, right? And then if it continues to hold and it continues to go up, I'll grab another 50 shares. Now, if let's say my ultimate goal was to have 100 shares, so let's say I got in at around 58, my first price target is going to be $60. So I'm going to take some off the top, and what that means is I'm going to start to unload my current core position. So I'm going to start to unload, let's say 50 shares. So from 58 to 60, I just made 2 points. So that's $100, but I'm still holding another 50 shares. So I just made $100 on the current shares that I sold, which was 50 because I made 2 points on the trade. And let's say it continues to go up. right? Um, I can either start to buy in. I can buy in another 50 shares and hold my current 50 shares as a core position and buy again after I take some off the top for profits. And then let's say my next target was $63, then I would start to unload my position at 63, and that's how you would just gradually move up. Some traders just go all in and go all out at one ticket. They're gonna buy their main lot at a certain price they want, and then they're gonna just exit at their target. That's kind of a risky game when you're doing like that. I think it's easier when you scale in, because let's say you got in at $58 and it continued to go down, you're able to average down on your long position. Some traders recommend that. I personally do that myself sometimes. There have been a lot of times where I got in at a wrong entry, and just by averaging down, I was able to come out even at least on my trade without taking a loss because I averaged down. But I'll have future on my future live streams, I will be able to explain and go into depth about scaling in and averaging down and averaging up. Right. All right. So that makes complete sense. So I'm going to move over to my stock watch list. I know we kind of took long, but I just wanted to introduce them to you. So you're going to be working with me on my weekly live streams, and you're a person that I trade with. So I'm gonna move over to LGND, and we saw some movement on it on Friday. It's been on a current uptrend. I've been watching it. I traded this last year, and I actually remember shorting this last year. I don't know if you remember shorting this with us, Rig. I know you were in the chat room, and it took a nasty turn last year. Um, and we actually shorted it from these levels here. Okay, so what I see here on the 4 hour, well, let's look at daily. The daily, we're looking at a triple top here on LGND. We're looking at a triple top, and it's kind of, and I'll explain why I'm going to do a long swing. I mean, a short position on this, right? Well, we saw the IBB. So obviously this is a biotech company, and sometimes biotech companies, when there's no activity as far as news, it'll move with the ETF. ETFs tend to move um, particular stocks. Triple top. So we saw here it topped out, went back down, topped up, went back down, topped up. So this is actually like a oversized, really oversized channel. So I'm going to just draw another trend line here and kind of just so you guys can understand what I'm saying. And what we see here is just a complete bounce every time it hits my trend lines, right? So it goes up, it goes down, then it goes up, then it goes down. This time it made a lower high, a higher low, and then now it bounced back up, but it seems like it's still stuck, right? So now what I would do here is, this is a perfect clean chart, by the way. This is the type of stocks that I like to trade on a swing wise. Um, and I'm going to pull up my RSI, pull up my MACD here. I'm gonna pull up some moving averages. Um, so Rig, what kind of moving averages do you usually use on the daily chart?
LGND. The moving averages I have are the 50-day. I have the 50-day moving average and the 200-day moving average.
Right. So currently we're up above. That's, yeah. By the way, that's the same moving averages I use as well. Sometimes I'll use the 20-day. I also use the 9-day, but I'll use those on a lower time scale, lower time frame. So we're currently holding above the moving averages, but just as we were doing when we were over here at the top, every time we cross the top. So ultimately, how I would play this here is I'm gonna risk around the point, a point and a half, maybe even 2 points for a potential retrace back down. Um, so what I would do is look at the 30-minute chart here, and I kind of want the 108 level first. So these three trend lines here that I drew, they're approximate exits. Okay, um, and this is one of the many stocks that I'm going to go over that uh, have triple topped or double topped in a day in the daily and within the whole year. The RSI is very high, as we saw on the 30, even on the 30-minute, it is high. The 5 minute is low, but that's okay because then that could just signify it'll go up. It could possibly go up 50 cents and the RSI will be right back down. When I look at the RSI, when I look at the 30-minute RSI, it's high. It touched the hundreds. It's well above the 80. On the daily, it is at 100. The RSI is at 100. Every time it was 100, it'll come back down. I'm not saying it's going to plummet all the way right back down, but what I'm saying is there will be a pullback. There has not been there had see the RSI has never really failed me here, because if you look at here, we were at the top when the RSI came back down. So we went all the way from 99 all the way back down to $90. This is a 10-point short right there if you would have had followed the RSI. Obviously the RSI is going to lag, but we would have played it with the moving averages and the trend lines. But ultimately, my whole point is that the RSI is high, it's overbought, uh, and it's overbought at a triple top. So you know, it could possibly go our way. The MACD is still bullish, it's still curling up, it's still going up. So there is room for some upside. Um, Obviously, there's sometimes fake out. So even though a triple top, let's say the exact number would be 112.38, sometimes it can go up to 113 and make a sloppy triple top and come back down. It's not usually always exactly to the T. But again, we're only short. We're if we're going to go short, if I'm going to place a short with, let's say, just 100 shares and swing it out, that could just net me a couple of $100 if it goes back down to, let's say, the 107 or 106 level, and I'm swinging. I'm not really doing any work. I'm just letting it ride out. So a lot of traders, new traders that come in, I know you guys want to day trade and you guys can't day trade, and that's why I got these swing plays for you guys. Because if you can't day trade, ultimately you're gonna have to swing trade, and you're gonna have to learn how to swing trade. And sometimes I feel like swing trading sometimes is more lucrative, less riskier than day trading. So when you're coming in as a new trader, I think the best step is to actually learn how to swing trade. And when you learn how to swing trade, you're actually ultimately learning and trying to master technical analysis and charting. So the reason why I would short, my general opinion, is because we're sitting at a triple top. So I would like to go short around. So this is going to be a short entry. Let me just update that. So we're going to have a short entry at around, I want to say around 110, anywhere from 111.50 to 110.50. Okay. My stop loss is going to be above 113.50. And my first line target is going to be around 107. Let's say 107.50. I'll even take 108 off the top, and still hold a core position. So what I mean by that is I'll just start scaling out here, um, and just let it ride down, because we saw here, it topped out here. Then if you look at here, this is kind of also catches my eye. Rig, I don't know if you see this, right? If you look at, let me zoom in and let me make this clearer. Okay, so what I viewed here is we topped out here and we came back down here, right? And we kind of held. This was support for a while before gapping back down. We came back down, gap down, we came back up, and then it held again and it bounced up before coming back down. So it seems like there is some type of nice support over here at 94, right? So if I'm swinging for a couple of days or a week or two, and as long as my stop loss is not triggered, I don't mind holding on to it. And ultimately, I would want to see if we could get back to the 94. And that's even possible, even if the biotech sector continues to go down. And then then when you see, and then this would be a perfect play, perfect pair play. So let's say we're swinging LGND short because, well, it's triple topped, and let's say the biotech sector continues to pull back. Then that's when you would hop in on the ticker that Rig had mentioned, which is LABD, and that's short the IBB, I think the XBI as well. Yeah, the XBI and I think the IBB. And then you would day trade the LABD, obviously, because you see your LGND, you see the biotech is pulling back intraday, and you could hedge with one of the ETFs, one of the biotech ETFs, and that would be a perfect pair play. So I would again I would look to short around 111.50, 110.50. I wouldn't even put 113. I would put 113.50. I just put 113 and I have a target at 107. Ultimately, my real price target on this would is really around the mid 90s on this for possible short. Now let's say we break out. Let's say with volume comes in or some type of news comes in and it breaks past this line, this barricade here. I'm going to go long above 113, um, without a doubt. So I would go. So my stop loss would be 113, and I would try to enter at 113 with a stop loss, literally tight stop loss around 112.50. My exit, if it breaks this pattern, if it breaks this triple top, it's blue skies ahead. Would you agree, Rig?
If it breaks above what?
If it breaks the if it breaks the if it breaks my triple top, it's there's no resistance.
No, there isn't. And I actually just right now as you were speaking, I'm pulling up the what is that? I'm pulling up the 5-year chart on this LGND. One sec. Okay, so wow, so yeah, so basically right now, what you're seeing on the daily, you're seeing the 114. That 114 is the 5-year high. So if it was to break above that, I mean, you definitely want to be long on it.
You said it's a 5-year high.
Yeah, 11, 11.4, 114 is the 5-year high on LGND.
Oh, yes, yes, correct. I didn't even go back that far. I
Yeah,
usually,
so
I usually don't have to. But
well, I mean, usually like
no,
when the
you're
stock comes
correct.
out
So
the
I would
week,
actually move it up. I would move it up. Yes, I would go. I would go long. But you know what? I would try to. I wouldn't mind buying a 113 lot. But yeah, ultimately you can go long at 114 or 113. And it's at that point I would say it would be safe to say that we shouldn't short it at that level, because now
yeah, no, I mean, if it comes back up, I mean, granted, it's been on a solid uptrend for the past month and a half since February 11th. After it made that low, it's been on a constant uptrend. Yes, I would be personally, I'd be expecting a pullback,
Yeah.
and like yourself, once it got under 1050, I would get short and look for 1005.
Yes. Okay, perfect.
You know, for the first level. But
Uh-huh.
if it break like upon that pull, it breaks below the 105. Next level you're seeing is the 100 area, and below that 100 area support that it built, you know, the last week or so. Upon breaking that, you'll be seeing 95, and if it breaks 95 support, next area is 90. I mean, this thing could, you know, it could realistically go all the way down to test the 85.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. So here it could be a win-win, but if you're taking at this is what I'm trying to explain to them. If you take a precise short at this moment here, you're really not risking much. Uh, losing again, on the upside against your downside. So your downside would you're only risking about a point or two. Your upside of you actually winning on this trade is actually more in favor of a short, I would say. If we were to compare it to previous patterns, and so that's exactly how it played out. So that's exactly that
Yeah,
exactly makes
I mean,
sense.
I'm looking at and again, I'm looking at the 5 year chart, and right now it definitely seems to be setting up for a potential. I mean, if it stays above this 110 area, it's definitely going to set up to move higher.
Yes.
But if it gets under that, I mean, we'll definitely end up seeing some major pullbacks. And one very very important level is 80. I mean, this stock, I mean, since 2012, it ran from 976 low all the way to 3 years later being at 114. So, if this was to break below $80 a share, I mean, you could have a major debacle all the way down to 40. But just staying in the relative short period,
Time range, yeah.
you can definitely say if this thing that if it puts in a lower high and it doesn't go and retest that 114, it's definitely a short. And you know, and you can look for the 105, 106 area. I
Yep.
know you said 107,
I said
but
107. I'm going to still hold, like I said before, I'm going to still hold on to my core position. I'm going to just start scaling out. If it continues to go down, then I'm going to continue to buy back short. I'm going to add more shorts. I'm going to hold my core position at around 113. I'm only going to scale some out at 107. I'm sorry, I'm going to short at 111, but that's going to be my core position. I'm going to start to scale out. But if there's confirmation that we're going to go to the next level, this is what I'm trying to explain to traders. You don't want to just play one whole level. You don't want to go from short from 111 and cover at 80 or cover at 70. You want to play it level by level. And
yep.
that's how we're going to swing. So yeah, my first level is going to be 107. If it continues to go down and give me confirmation that and it gives me a reason to continue to short, then yes, I'm going to add. I'm going to buy short. I'm going to buy short shares back. It might push my average. Obviously, it's going to push my average down, but that's fine. That's how you're actually supposed to short. Is by shorting the trend, not shorting against the trend. So yeah, that's how we would play it out. I got Adobe chart as well. So what I noticed here, I pulled this up on my scan. I pulled it up on a double top scan. And all right, so Rig, you got all right, Rig. Thanks for showing up, and thanks for your time, brother.
No problem. It was my pleasure. I look forward to us continuing this.
All right, man.
All right, man. You guys enjoy the rest of this.
All right, thanks. All right, so I'm going to be talking about Adobe. So Adobe, I noticed on my scanner, I pulled it up for a double tap. I saw that it tried to break past what we see here is a top. So I call this an inverse head and shoulder. Some people call it differently. Some call it a double top, whatever, triple top, because you got three here, 1, 2, 3. I call this an inverse head and shoulder. This is going to be the head. That's the shoulder, shoulder. and I am gonna guess that we are gonna go back down. Okay, when the market pulls back, this will ultimately also go down without a doubt, just as it done previously. So ADB has been added to my watch list, and it is a major short alert on ADB. So I'm going to add it up over here, and I feel very comfortable, as I already posted on my portfolio. I already scaled in 50 shares short on Friday at 95.15. It closed 95. I think, what does it say? 95. It closed at 95.16. All right. So, and I'll continue to buy. I'll continue to add shorts so long as it does not break 97. I don't want it to break past this red candle. Even if we look at the 4-year, right? So it's just a topped out. We're gonna look at my RSI here, and we're sitting at the high here. So you see we were low here, right? And then we started to turn back. So if we would have followed the RSI somewhere around 92, we could have sold around 95 here, right? Topped out here. RSI was very high. RSI was very low here. It was sitting around 84. So the RSI is sitting back up. The RSI here is signifying that there could be a little more price action towards the upside. So again, but it should not go above 97. Okay, you should not see Adobe go above 97. So we don't want to short above that. That's a no-no. So I'll be adding more shares short. I'll probably day trade it, as well as hold on to my core position as a short. So I am short I have a price target. So we're gonna have a short entry target. We're gonna go long entry. If we were to go long, it would be above. I would go long above 97.50. Okay, but my main focus for Adobe right now is not to go long. It is to go short. So my short entry target is actually right now at 95.16. And you can, I'll add some shares all the way up to $97. Stop loss is above, obviously, our long entry, which would be 97.50. At that point, if we fail, I'm not even gonna scale out my shares. I might take some off, the table at around 80 or 92. So I got a 92 price target on it. First price target is 92, and my second price target is going to be 88. Again, this is not going to happen in one day. This is a swing, right? And this is why I formulated my portfolio here for you guys to view it. So you'll be able to see when I exit. Again, you guys will be able to access it live. So what we're going to do here is so my first price target is 92. Second target is 88. I know I took up most of your time, you guys' time with Rig. Rig is a fantastic trader. He's been trading a very long time. He was also $1 million, one of Timothy Sykes' $1 million students. So I've been trading with Rig for quite some time. He's been in the chat room with me, shorted. He's more of a bullish trader. I'm more of a short bearish trader, as you guys know. And sometimes it's good to have a partner that likes to do the opposite of you, only because sometimes all I see is shorts. So he's able to pick up on long. So two different strategies, two different so it's really 4 eyes instead of 2 eyes. And he's, we just bounce back ideas back and forth. So I figured I'd just introduce him on the live stream. Okay, so we're going to look at PSXP. Okay. It's playing I want to say a channel. It was playing a nice channel here, bouncing very long range, all the way from 64 to 40, back to 60s, back to 40s, back to 60s, and then just kept putting up. It just kept topping out here, right? And I believe they took their dividend out, so that's what continued the downtrend. We just okay, so what I would do here is look at the 4-hour chart. Just want to see what this is a material sector, okay? So ultimately, these are the type of plays I like to play, okay? Capitalize on. Obviously, this can continue to keep going up, but for momentarily, sometimes the stock will have a hard time breaking up above a resistance line like this. It does have a solid uptrend, so I would tread carefully on any type of shorting. So I'll draw another trend line here. Okay, so I want to start to short this here for a pullback. I want to pull up my RSI here. The stochastic is very high, and I'm going to go ahead and say, let's say on the daily is very high. The highest has been since January. Obviously, when the market just completely went down, it's up $13 from the market drop. Our rough start in January. So, I'm not going to short this long term. Again, this could be bullish long term, but I like to capitalize off a week move or 2 or 3 day move, sometimes even a 1 day move. So I'm going to go ahead and say the reason why I'm going to short this. Well, where it's overbought, we're at a high resistance spot here, so there could be some little upside to 64. Ultimately, I would like to short this around $64, but I'll even short it at its current price here at 63.42. Again, because I'll only be scaling in 50 shares. So let's say I scale in at 50 shares, 100 shares at 63.18, and then it fails to break above over here, then obviously that's when I'll add another 150 shares or 200 shares to my core position. average up, and then I'll just ride the wave back down. So I'm gonna go ahead and say we should be looking for a short around we're going to be looking for a short around, there is no long here. I don't see any long. I don't care for a long here. We're going to short around anywhere from 64.50 to 63.50. Okay. Stop loss is going to be above 66. Again, we're swinging. Target is going to be below. It's going to be around $58. I would say $59. Start scaling the lots out. Again, see, also you want to make sure that this stock, before you go and swing a particular stock, please make sure you're not holding a stock or swinging a stock that is going to go into earnings, and then you wake up the next morning, it could have either made you or broke you, right? So make sure that you are going to, you understand and do a little more in-depth research and see that, when the earnings are, before I go into swing, I usually do some background check on the stock to see what I missed. I'm not going to just look at technicals. I want to see what happened within the stock the past week. Maybe there's a reason why it's sitting at a level, or maybe there could be a catalyst that's coming up. So I do the charting first, get that out the way. Then I'll, in my free time, I'll go ahead and do some research on the stock that I have on my watch list. So obviously I have a huge watch list here, but there was some, specific tickers that I wanted to share with you guys. Okay, so we got APEI. I think APEI was one. No, that's not it. See, it's funny because I traded AEPI and this one is APEI, so it's very confusing. Okay, because there are two tickers that's on my watch list. They're different. So we're currently sitting in a channel here. It's a tight channel, right? Sideways. And I'm not going to play this channel here. Okay, so basically I drew these two trend lines to show you guys. So it gapped up, but then just went sideline. So it hasn't went above 2190. Well, I wouldn't count the wick, so we're going to just say the straight top on the candle here. Hasn't really stayed above 2193 and hasn't went below 1998. We're sitting at 2143. Okay, this is a good channel here. Again, you're gonna throw your indicators to match up with your analysis, your trend line. So I'm gonna do my RSI here, MACD. So on the daily, it is showing that this is, I would be long on. If I was trading this for about 3 months, 4 months, I'd go long on APEI. Temporarily here on the 30-minute, the stochastic is way overbought. The MACD is still curling up on the hour, overbought. 4 hour, almost overbought. 5 minute, it is not overbought at all, right? So you got to factor all of these in. Usually I'll listen to my daily and I'll listen to my 30-minute chart. Again, I wouldn't touch this. So let me just pull up on the daily. I wouldn't touch this until the price is at one of these trend lines here, right? So if we break hard below $19, $19.99, so $20, you can play this both ways. You can either go long and keep a tight stop loss at 1969, or you could go long and play the channel, right? You could look at the RSI here. I'm going to wait until it reaches around $22, and I'm going to go ahead and short it. And I'm going to keep a tight stop loss. So I'll show you guys exactly what I mean with that. So APEI is long above 2250. Stop loss is 22. Target. I wouldn't have an immediate target, but I would sell for a point or a point and a half, right? So I'm not going to fill that blank in just yet. Short entry would be below $20. All right, so just real quick, some of you guys probably wonder, like, well, anybody can do that. Anybody can just say that. Well, I'm gonna explain to you why I do it this way, right? We're gonna go long above $20 because if we look at a historical sideways channel that it's been producing since the 4th of March, every time it hits around $20.10 or $20.05 or $20.03 or even $19.99, it bounces up and we can catch it for more than a point. Okay, more than $1. So if I go in with 1,000 shares at $20, I'll make a nice $20 on the swing. Obviously, I'm not going to go in that long. This is just my swing portfolio, but so if we go long above $20, our stop loss should be around. We're going to keep a tight stop loss because we're going to try to make this trade work. We're going to nail the trend. Whatever trend is going to decide is going to go, we're going to nail it. How are you going to do that with minimizing risk? You might have to day trade it, or you might have to swing trade it, right? But the whole key is we're going to go long above 20. We're going to keep a tight stop loss around 19, let's say 80 or 1990, okay? And then we're going to short at that point if it continues to go down because our next level is going to be around $18, right? It's going to definitely go to 18. But ultimately, overall, long term, I'll probably be coming back at around the 22. It's going to break the channel, hopefully go long. But for right now, we're not going to touch it until either 22 is touched or $20 is touched. Until then, we're going to just keep it on our watch list. But keep in mind and always check on my watch list and make sure that these price targets are not actually live, because if they are, you want to capitalize off them, right? So then we have okay, somebody wanted me to go over, I forgot, over X. Okay, X is still Corp. Thank God I didn't short this about a month ago. I really wanted to short this a month ago. Guys, just give me one moment. All right, so for the person that asked me on Instagram about Steel Corporation was very, very bearish at one point. It was pretty much Wall Street used to joke on this stock every day at one point last year. Same goes AKS. Still beating my head over for not picking up AKS around $2. I would have been up over 100% on my trade, but again, stuff just doesn't work out like that. So give me 1 second. Make sure there's no questions asked. Okay. So Steel Corporation, Steel has been kind of bullish. Has rebounded. Could have been possibly short covering. I don't know. I don't really follow Steel like that, but I know that I want to short this. So I agree with you. I will be shorting this very soon. It is way overbought. Even if it continues to go up, it's going to have to pull back at some point, right? It's just not going to just flat out go all the way up. And I think patience paid off. And thank God I have not shorted this yet. I would have got murdered last year if I would have shorted this. So let me pull it up. I'm gonna look at the daily chart here, and then it's just very simple stuff. This is just, you know, some traders just make it very, you know, they do too much, right? So stochastics is way overbought, right? See here on the daily, way overbought. It's too high. It's gonna be a pullback very soon. Now, even though it happened, guys. So let's say on this day here, on December 16th, was ironic. That's my birthday. I would have drew this trend line and extended all the way down. I would have put it at this candle here. And let's say we would have came back and we would have left the trend line just as is, right? Obviously, these candles would have not been around. This is why I say trend line trading works, because as soon as the stock traded sideways and then broke its trend line around January 29th, it created a breakout from $6 to $8. It pulled back all the way to $6, made a higher high, okay, pulled back, made a lower low, and then just broke out here, right? And so now we're looking at, so what I would do here is literally play it just like that, simple trend line. You could draw the trend line a little differently, but this is how I would act on it. So as the time comes, we're going to patiently wait. I hope you're watching the video, the person that had asked me about this. And as time goes on, we're going to wait, right? And ultimately, I'm going to short as soon as this trend line breaks, okay? It could possibly, what I've noticed on the chart, it could possibly be trying to run up to this level here, which already kind of closed up on, which was the 1698, 17 mark. Let's be precise, right? 1694. So I don't know what your intentions are, how many shares you're looking to get into short. If you're trying to make this, you know, one play here, one play shot. But I say here at 1650, I'm going to say yes, steel is a short. So I'm going to add it on my watch list here, on my entry list. I'm writing no long, but if it does break above 1750, I would go long on this for a technical breakout. Somewhere around the 1750, but I'm not even going to bother to look back because I'm not interested in going long on this. And anywhere from 1690, 1650 to me is a safe short. Stop loss is above 1710. Target is around $14, possibly $13.50 on steel. Okay, this is watch list for 16, 4, 8. right? Hopefully that made a little sense as to why I'm doing that. I'm just basing it off the daily chart. You can look for a precise entry on the 5-minute chart, even the 5-minute chart here. You know, it broke the 48 mark, so it could lead up to around 1673. I would go short around 1673, somewhere around that mark. Um, ultimately, if it breaks, uh, ultimately if it breaks the 1506, it's going to go downhill. Major support there at 1506. So you can easily nail a nice point on this trade here if we short at around 1694. So I would say around 1670 is a safe short. All right, so today's Saturday. Tomorrow is Sunday. Obviously, the market is not open. I'm going to be adding more to this watch list. I think we're these right here are pretty good. I don't want to overwhelm you guys if you guys are actually following these watch lists and watching the moves. Hopefully, you guys were able to capitalize off last week's watch lists. It was easy, 15% on the overall watch list. All combined, we had some of them were 10% gainers. You know, I'm more of a conservative trader when it comes to swing trade. I'm not looking for 20%. I'm looking anywhere from 5 to around 12% return on each trade. I'm going to go ahead and make this list here public for you guys. And I'm going to post it up on my Instagram. It's going to be on my bio, and you guys can just literally click on it, and you guys can view my current watch list. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I will update this list. I will remove some stuff that I'm no longer watching, and then I'll go ahead and recycle them. As far as tomorrow, I will add around another 6 tickers onto the watch list. And if you guys have any tickers that you guys want me to go over, and please do not ask me about soon. I'm not trading soon. And I'll go ahead and put them up and see if they're worthy of a swing. Obviously, I do day trade as well. This is just a swing trade watch list, so I do swing trade and day trade at the same time. Some days I do not day trade. It could be tied up doing something, and then I'll just let my swing trades go into full effect. And then I'll teach you guys about alerts and how you don't even have to watch your computer. You guys could just get automated alerts when a price gets struck, then you can make your move. But that's for the future. So tomorrow I'll be back on around 8 p.m. Eastern time. I add another 6 tickers, 7 tickers, and then you guys can forward me any tickers that you guys want me to show you guys. So again, the link for the public watch list for everybody to view will be on my bio on Instagram. You guys can email me at here, bouadvisors@gmail. I can forward you the link personally. And then I will be able tomorrow to make this public for everybody as well. And you guys could see if I entered it, executed it, and if I was able to capitalize off the trade, or if I went further and actually executed the trade. All right. Thanks for viewing. See you guys tomorrow.